Hello friends, welcome to the lecture series on plant physiology. Today we are going to learn anti-transpirants. We are dealing with the chapter transpiration, and in previous videos we already discussed about the concept of transpiration and its different hypotheses. So let us start with anti-transpirants. We know very well that plant continuously absorb water from the soil, and about 98% of water which is absorbed by plant it get lost, and only insignificant amount of water, that is only 1 to 2% of water, it is utilized by plant for its own metabolism. So sometimes due to this excess loss of water, plant have to face many problems, severe problems. Sometimes plant can have death. In such conditions, enormous loss of water can reduce by using some anti-transpirant. Means to minimize such a water loss, about 98% of water when get lost from the plant will become die. And to minimize this loss of water, we have to use some substances, chemical substances. These are known as anti-transpirant. So this is a solution for to minimize, to reduce the rate of transpiration in some plants. This is very applicable for the farmers who are practicing their farming in very clear water areas. So these are known as anti-transpirants. So this is very important asset for agriculturists, that is farmers, and also for nature. Nowadays, scientists are taking efforts to find such anti-transpirant substances which will reduce the rate of transpiration without adversely affecting rate of respiration, then gaseous exchange and plant growth. So nowadays, as scientists knew the importance of these anti-transpirant agents, they are going to discover different types of anti-transpirants and which will reduce the rate of transpiration. And the rate of transpiration only be reduced without adversely affecting a rate of respiration, gaseous exchange and plant growth. Means in this, or by using this anti-transpirant, only rate of transpiration will be reduced, no other metabolic activities of plant will get affected. So we can define anti-transparent as, an anti-transparent can be defined as any substance or material which is applied to plant for the purpose of retarding transpiration. In other words, anti-transpirants are chemicals which when applied to plant retard or reduce the rate of transpiration. So they are also known as anti-transparent. So here you can see anti-transpirants are nothing but the chemicals and which will be applied for plant which are responsible for retarding and reducing the rate of transpiration. Anti-transpirants are very important for farmers to grow their crops in very limited water supply. Examples of anti-transparent. Anti-transparents are divided into two groups. Group first and group second anti-transparents. One by one we will discuss. First of all, we will see group first anti-transparents. So this group includes low viscosity waxes, colorless plastics and silicone oils. So group first anti-transparent, as they play very important role and very different role. So for that purpose we have to use low viscosity waxes, colorless plastics and silicone oils. They are sprayed on the leaves with the object of forming a film permeable to CO2 and O2 but inhibit entry and exit of water. So these anti-transparent agents, that is waxes, colorless plastic and silicone oils, they are sprayed on the surface of leaves and they will able to permit CO2 and O2 for gaseous exchange, but they will inhibit entry and exit of water. Means they will not affect on the gaseous exchange, but they will affect on the in entry and exit of the water. So these are known as group first anti-transparents. As why they are known as a group first? Because they will not close stomata entirely. They will allow CO2 and O2 to exchange, but they will inhibit only entry of water. So that they are known as group first anti-transparent. Then group second anti-transparent, these are somewhat different than that of group first anti-transparents. This group of anti-transparents are used to close the stomata. So here you can see the stomata are closed completely by using these group second anti-transparents. Chemical fungicides like phenylmercuric acetate, abscisic acid, carbon dioxide, etc. they are used for the purpose of anti-transparent. So these are all examples of group second anti-transparent. Phenylmercuric acetate has given promising result as an anti-transparent if they are used in limited quantity, that is 10 raised to minus 4 molar. It caused very little toxic effects on leaves and closed stomata for a week or two. So these phenylmercuric acetate, it has proved to be a good anti-transparent and have very less toxic effect on plants. But we should use them in very limited quantity, that is 10 raised to minus 4 molar concentration. So these phenylmercuric acetate, when sprayed on the leaves, they can close stomata of that leaves for a week or two. Abscisic acid is also used to induce stomatal closure for few hours. So there is another type of group second anti-transparent, that is abscisic acid. It can also be used as an anti-transparent and it is able to close stomata for few hours. Now carbon dioxide is also used as an effective anti-transparent. A little rise in CO2 concentration from the natural, that is 0.03% to 0.05%, it induces partial closure of stomata. So sometimes scientists can use this carbon dioxide as an effective anti-transparent, because when we increase or little increase in CO2 level, that is CO2 concentration, that is naturally the CO2 concentration is 0.03%, but if we increase that concentration up to 0.05%, it induces partial closure of stomata. Overuse of CO2 may lead to complete closure of stomata, thereby adversely affecting rate of respiration and photosynthesis because of retarded gaseous exchange. So we should not overuse CO2 because it will cause complete closure of stomata, and due to that our metabolic processes like respiration and photosynthesis of plant, they may be completely retarded. Sometimes use of anti-transparent can adversely affect metabolism of plant. So we have to use some ideal anti-transparents with following essential features. So ideal anti-transparent should have following features. First is they should not show any toxic effect on plants, because when we use these anti-transparent on some vegetables and these are absorbed by these vegetables, it can be consumed by our cell or human being, it may cause some severe problems. So you have to use anti-transparent which will show very little or no toxic effect on plants as well as on animals. Then they should not damage stomatal apparatus permanently. So such type of anti-transparent should not damage stomatal apparatus permanently. Their effect should be only limited to guard cells and not to other cells. Means anti-transparent we are using, they should only affect on guard cells and not on other type of cells. It should be cheap and easily available in market. So anti-transparent we have to use, it should be cheap and it should be easily available in market, so that very poor farmers can afford that and they can purchase that. They should not cause any side effects or pollution. So anti-transparent we are using, they should not cause any side effects or environmental pollution. So such type of products should be used. So these are some characteristic features of ideal anti-transparent agents. So if we use such type of anti-transparent, they will not cause any adverse effect on the metabolism of plant. Also they will not pollute full environment, and also they are not harmful for human or other animals. So thanks for your attention.